Now I think I was a little bit too harsh on the Balgorn last time. I think I kind of called the Balgorn something along the lines of being useless, although obviously that's not the case, and I might have a very unique purpose for the ship. As I mentioned in one of the previous videos, I have a ship for every possible situation, and the Balgorn is going to end up being really good to be used against the navies, and it's in general very good to be used against ships that have a very good tank, since the Balgorn itself has quite a lot of tank by itself. Not comparable to the tank of a navy, but it is still a very robust ship. Now, speaking of the new ships, I was trying to find a Hyperion bomber, but yeah, the market is empty. These ships are very popular at the moment. Honestly, I cannot blame the players for buying them all because they are really good, and I'm very happy that we actually have received some form of Marauders, although they're called bombers in this game, but they are about the same as the Marauders from Evil Line. They have about the same use, same bonus stats when it comes to the repair. Now, I did not even notice that I've had a Hyperion. Now, this is the classic Hyperion, not the bomber one, but I just want to show you the nanocore that I did talk about last time. The nanocore that I really want to use on the Hyperion bomber. I'm very glad that I didn't reprocess, that I didn't lose the nanocore. I actually used the Hyperion, not this Hyperion, but I've had a Hyperion in the past. And I actually have over 140 destroyed ships on the Hyperion. It has kill marks on the back section of the ship. There is the... Where is my nanocore? Where is it? There it is. Burning Night Core. Again, one of the more rare nanocores that I think now is going to see very good use with the new bomber ships. Now, it's not leveled. Back in the day, I never imagined that I would level up a nanocore since it's quite expensive. But I don't know how, it just so happened that out of nowhere, I basically have enough materials to level the whole thing up from scratch. So this nanocore will be leveled, and honestly, I'm actually kind of trying to fight the need to max it out right now on camera. Because I really want to see how much repair I'll be able to get on the bomber with this nanocore. Since, I mean, the Hyperion already has a bonus on repair, right? So, bonus on repair from the skills, bonus from the nanocore, and bonus from the module. We are talking about a very, very funny ship, and on top of that, I also need to get some integrations going on for this ship, well, for the bomber Hyperion, not for this one. But I will be using the 4P integrations, the classic trunk build, and we'll be focused on armor repair, armor volume, and armor repair speed. So I'm aiming around 3 seconds cycle time for one armor repair to have about 10,000 repair per repair. So there's a good chance I might get around 40,000 armor repair per repairs if I had like 3 or 4 of them, and I can make this ship capacitor stable. The module that you get is helping with the capacitor a lot, and I will have integrated capacitor rigs, so I'm actually fairly confident that I can get this to be capacitor stable with about 3 armor repairs, which would be insane, and probably the tankiest ship they'll have, and we'll probably make a new record as the tankiest ship that was built, which I like to do. I mean, I like to create very, very tanky ships. If you have been following me for 3-4 years that I'm doing this, 5 years, you probably know that I am a big fan of tanky ships, so I'm all in for tank, and that ship might have a very unique use to be used against CNC carriers, since it will be able to permanently tank them. Undocking. And that will be pretty awesome. So, let's warm up with something funny first, and today I'll show you an example of why you should always trust your sixth sense. Now, sixth sense, I think we all know what that is. I mostly talk about it from a joking perspective, not entirely serious when I say sixth sense, but usually when my sixth sense kicks in, it's usually correct, and when I don't listen to it, I kind of regret it. So you'll see the next target, and that's why I kind of got interested in the Balgorn again, since I know the Balgorn. With the build that I have on the Balgorn, it is surprisingly tanky, and also have the thermal circulation implant. It is very close to a navy tank, not exactly a navy tank, but pretty close. The huge advantage is that it has infinite capacitor, even without using the Nosferatus. That's how I built that ship. It's infinite tank basically, so it should be really good against anything that is tanky. The only downside is it doesn't have a lot of points, and that's the one thing that I don't like about the Balgorn. Doesn't have a lot of points. I might solve that if I get a Death to External Core, but my ES quality is a little bit low for that.
Warp drive active.
So right now I might use my alt for tackle. Actually, I'm thinking about using my alt with a Stratus tackle to tackle ships with it. We will see. In the end, the Balgorn will have a purpose. It will be used specifically against ships that can be tankier than usual. But let's take a look at this first target. Well, not bad. I mean, it is a Sunensis. They're always expensive. And I was in a Thrasher fleet, not a ship that I usually fly that often. But yeah, I do have a destroyer that I like to eat around. And next target, we have a Raven Navy. Now, immediately I knew that this would not work. I know that because against the Raven, you want to use cannons, you want to use lasers, or blasters. You don't really want to use drones. It never really worked, but nonetheless, I just decided to not listen to myself. I decided not to listen to my instinct.
Warp drive active.
I decided not to listen to my sixth sense. And as always, even in real life, when I don't listen to myself, I always regret it. So, same in games. Anyway, warping in. Orbit is at about, well 17 kilometers. Now, I actually thought that this could have been a bait. And I do have a ship that's very good against a bait ship. However, the Domi Navy, yeah, it is good against some ships, bad against some other ships, and that's just how EVE works in general. Lasers would melt any shield tank. Lasers are basically the main nemesis of any shield tanked ship, and I kind of realized what would happen already. You can definitely decide the outcome of a certain encounter in this game, or in even line for that matter, in the first 10 seconds. It's very easy to see. I mean, if you play the game for a very long time, you probably already have experience with various different scenarios, and in this case I could have just warped off. Now I can spend, I mean, I can take some damage, of course. This is a navy as well, but the Raven Navy is definitely tankier than Dominic's Navy. The Raven Navy is, I think, the tankiest out of the navies, and the Dominic's, while it does have the same stats, the same resistance profile, it doesn't have the same amount of hit points, and therefore, while the numbers on the resistance is about the same, the Raven just has a lot more raw hit points. Okay, so I do some good damage on it, but it's not up to my taste. And I could have warped to a belt, I could have docked, I could have taken a different ship. I should have done that actually. I should have done that. That's the smart thing to do. But again, I was a little bit stubborn and I just didn't want to move. So this is again a good example of why you should always trust your experience and trust your, as I jokingly call it, your sixth sense, because usually your subconscious knows things that you don't really are aware of at a certain moment, and your subconscious will tell you on time when it's time to pull out. And you know, I mean, in multiple ways, not only you know in games, but your subconscious will tell you when it's time to you know dip.
We're under attack.
I'm doing good damage on the Raven. I mean, that's about what I can
We're
expect
under
with
attack.
a green nanocore. I might. Maybe I do have enough materials for 2 nanocores. I honestly
We're
don't know.
under attack.
Depending on how things go for the Hyperion, I might. I mean, I already have this plan, so it's not a hypothetical scenario.
We're
I will
under
be getting a
attack.
purple nanocore for the Dominic's Navy, definitely, and that will be for DPS. So my goal is to have a very tanky ship and a very high DPS ship. Both the Hyperion and the Dominic's fall. The Hyperion bomber fall into
We're
that
under
category
attack.
that I'm actually after. So they will be both leveled up. When I still level up, I mean the nanocore. Now, right now my main focus was on the local, since the Raven is going into armor, and now we are starting to see more ships appearing in local. And this is where you know
Damaged.
I started to listen to my sixth sense, and I started to align, since I have that feeling that you know this could have been a bait, might not be a bait, I don't know. In any case, for me it will be time to slowly approach the belt. I kind of missed the opportunity to click the damage roll on time, and in the next couple bomb cycles, well, in the next cycle actually, I would have went through the shield of the Raven Navy, and the armor would melt, since you know it's a shield tank. Even though it has
Warp
some
drive
armor
active.
resistance, it would melt. But I decided to warp. I still had enough armor, had the damage roll, had the bombs loaded and the damage amplifiers ready. But we have 2 new neutrals in local, and they popped in at a very suspicious time. So I figured the best course of action here is to just warp. You never know what can land. So the best course of action in that case was to warp. Kinda sucks because I think I've almost had the Raven. The next bomb cycle would go through. I already had the amplifiers ready as well. But hey, you win some, you lose some. It's just how the game works. But the Raven is
Warp
still there
drive
in the
active.
mission. And I still can change ships, which is what I actually plan to do next. Something that I should have done from the very start, but I didn't. Because I was stubborn, I didn't listen to myself. But now I'll actually take the Balgorn. However, good chance is that it's already too late. I don't know what wave the Raven was at. Good chance that they're already finishing up. So yeah, this is basically the encounter that kind of changed my view on the Balgorn again. I mean, I already knew the Balgorn was awesome. This just makes it
Warp
clear
drive
that
active.
I'll have a purpose for that ship. Not only the Balgorn, but I can also do the same thing with the Hyperion bomber. It's very tanky, it has a lot of repair, and it will have a very good capacitor as well. So I think the Hyperion bomber will also see use in a very similar. We will see usage very similar to some of my other ships, and I honestly kind of cannot wait to test that thing out, to fly that thing, because
Docking
I
request
really
accepted.
think that the Hyperion will be the equivalent. Should be the case with the ship. Okay, where is that Balgorn? There it is. I actually spent about 12 billion on the rigs on this ship. Did build this Balgorn in the identical image that my friend uses, and we both have about the same builds on the Balgorn. The only difference is the nanocore. My friend has a much better nanocore. I don't have a nanocore on this ship. I don't think I'll use a nanocore for the Balgorn. Maybe I should and enhance the armor, but Right now my primary naval core focus is on the Hyperion bomber and on the Dominic's navy. The Balgorn, I don't think it really needs an naval core, it's already perfect as it is. Well, I mean, that's kind of false, I guess. I talked about having not enough points on this ship, so I guess a Death Wish naval core definitely ideal for the Balgorn. But money, that's something I don't have right now. Anyway, I took the Balgorn, and don't worry, I have criminal timer and I'm undocked.
Fleet warp.
But the station protection does keep you safe. I don't recommend it that anyone undocks with timer like this, unless you are going somewhere, because one little wrong move. If I click on any of my modules there, the station protection is
Warp
gone,
drive
and my ship is gone as well by the gate guns. So not exactly the safest thing to do with criminal timer, but hey, I've been doing this for 5 years. If I mess up, I can only blame myself. And unfortunately, yeah, the Raven is, yeah, the Raven finished. Yeah. Oh well. That was my fault, kind of. Should have used the Balgorn from the very start, as I mentioned before. It was my fault. Should have used the Balgorn. That's why you should trust your sixth sense. A Balgorn or a Rattlesnake, actually. The Rattlesnake does have a very good shield resistance stat, so the Rattlesnake is also a very good decision for a Raven navy. Now, we have a logged out ship here, a Raven. And I'm in a Stratius, and I was looking to see if I can catch them logging out. Now, I think they are doing a safe log. I'm very sure it's a safe log. I don't know if they have changed the mechanics. They might have changed the mechanics for the log off.
Warp drive active.
Because you used to be able to, if someone forcefully logs the game in space, the ship will warp and will stay around 30 seconds in space, just like this Raven. But the second I land, the ship disappeared. I think I've done everything right. I think based on the kilometer count that we have seen there, I'm very sure I did nail on time, but I'm also kind of starting to think if they did do the safe log. I'm betting on the safe log. However, maybe they changed how things work now, because if you do a safe log, your ship will disappear in space when you land, which is the safe thing to do if you are logging out in space. I wouldn't recommend that you log out in space, regardless of whether it's safe log or not, but definitely safer than forcefully logging out in space. Because if you force log out in space, if someone is watching you, if someone is with an Astra or any other scan ship around you, they can scan you down. And you used to be able to catch ships like that. You used to be able to destroy ships like that if you manage to aggro before the ship disappears. That was the main thing that you had to do in order to prevent the ship from disappearing in space. You have to make sure that you land within those 30 seconds from the moment they disappear in local. There was a misconception, I believe. Maybe I'm to be blamed, but I'll correct that now. The 30 seconds start from the moment the ship disappears, from the moment the player disappears in local. That's the moment from which the 30 seconds, start. On the capital ships, on large ships, the time is a bit longer, I think. A little bit longer, since in some cases they might take 30 seconds to move, to rotate, to align. But for normal ships, for subcapitals, roughly 30 seconds to, completely disappear, which is more than enough time to catch a ship that's flowing out. But for some reason, and I've done this many times, but now I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Could be that I'm doing something wrong. Could be that I'm either too slow or too fast. I think once I was too fast, but I would say the other times I was right close. I mean, I've caught so many ships this way. I mean, caught
Warp
a...
drive active.
What was it called again? One of the new ships from the last couple months. I caught a Black Ops this way with my alt account. So maybe something changed, or maybe the pilot is using safe log and I'm just accurate and I am able to find ships that are safely logged in space. If you bubble them, that's the question. One thing I haven't tested out. If you bubble them when you scan them down, technically you do get a timer, right? If you're in a bubble. So maybe you can catch ships that safely log with a bubble
Warp
ship
drive
in no
active.
space. That's kind of something that I need to
Undocking.
test out. In any case, let's go to the next target. So we missed the first Raven today, due to my mistake. But now I'm taking the Balgonar for a little ride, and we have a classic Raven. Now, this ship has no nanocore. It has only the thermosuffocation plant, only to give the ship some extra armor resistance. I don't know if I showed the rigs on the
drive active.
Balgorn in the past. Maybe I'll have another Balgorn video and I'll just talk about the ship at one point, but it has 3 4P60 integrations and I believe 3 P60 or 70 engineering integrations. Something along the lines of that. So overall a fully integrated ship. Built in the image of my friend's Balgorn, since my friend's Balgorn was really good and I wanted to try the build out for myself. So far I am really happy with the Balgorn's performance. And 1 point, you know, this is kind of old school here, since usually you see ships with like 5 scramblers or 5 long-range disruptors. You know, that's usually the build now to counter a million stabs, but this thing kind of still uses the old school build. 1 point, web, and E-War, the thing that Balgorn is known for the most. With the Balgorn, you control the distance, you control the range, and you control the capacitor, obviously. This is what made this ship so enjoyable for me, because it is so satisfying to just orbit stuff. It's satisfying to actively tank stuff, and longer battles are just pure fun. That's why I love the Balgorn, because I think it doesn't get as fair as this with any ship in the game.
Shield damaged.
Well, I mean, fair. There's something like fairness doesn't really exist in EVE. Everyone will do anything, as long as, of course, it's in the realm of the game and not brought into real life like some people did with death threats and stuff. But yeah, I kind of really miss flying this ship. It does some good damage. I mean, it's only a tier 9 Raven, but still, it's satisfying to just look at the ships shooting at each other. It's just fun, okay? The effects are nice to look at. And I'll make sure that this is in full 60 FPS. I really hope that you guys noticed the frame rate difference. The video should be a lot smoother now. I really took great care in... I'm trying to take great care in making the thing look good and fluid and smooth. Since 30 FPS, yeah, my old phone was able to run 60 FPS due to some very interesting AI things that it had built in. The new phone, while being like 5 times faster, doesn't really have the same features. But I do have some other aces up my sleeve to make the game run 60 FPS. I really hope that the smoothness is noticeable. That's one of the things that I always wanted to do. I always wanted to make the game run 60 FPS, and I think I managed to do that. So I really hope that it does look smoother than usual. If it does, well, yeah, I mean, then my goal has been accomplished to make the game very smooth. Both quality and smoothness, that's what I'm trying to do. But that was a very nice little kill. Not the I mean, I wish I wish I did this with the Navy at start. I really wish I did. But hey, I mean, it happens. I'm human in the end. I'm no alien. I'm no AI. I'm no machine. I make mistakes in my judgment occasionally. Almost a billion-esque Raven. Not bad. Not bad. And am I going to get
Warp drive active.
railed by the sentry guns? Oh, we're about to find that out. Probably not. I've done this a million times, and I'm not gonna say that it's completely safe, but I'm fairly sure only a real bug can cause the ship not to dock when you click dock, even if you disconnect. Even if you like don't. Even if you like disconnect while warping, if you click dock, the ship will dock regardless of
Docking
whether you're
request
online
accepted.
or disconnected from the game. I've done a bunch of tests with, you know, forcefully turning off my router while with criminal timer warping to the station docking. It always docked, so I think you should be safe doing this. It does take getting used to, and honestly, I'll admit it's stressful for the first couple times because no one wants to get sentry guns, right? No one wants to, you know, to be sentry gunned. So yeah, but if you do have bad internet like I do, this might actually be the better option than
Warp
to
drive
get
active.
jumped by I don't know, by a fleet while you're trying to warp away somewhere, you know, or similar. The only reason why I'm docking with timer is because of my bad internet. Can cut out at any time, and that sucks. But hey, I mean, I can't really change my internet connection. It's bound by bad cables that are in the ground.
Warp drive active.
I have data, but data is also I'm living. For those of you who don't know, I'm not quite close to. Well, depends what you mean by close, or depends by definition of close. But I'm kind of in the forest right now, so that's where I live. And yeah, you can't really expect a good data internet over here or connection. No, this is something funny. I saw this rupture just chilling in the anomaly. I felt like, you know, taking the mallet for a spin, but that ship is obviously not in the mallet's range. So I did take a Stratius for the job, but even the Stratius is a bit too far, and they are burning away towards the I think they're burning away towards the gate or something. Yeah, I think they're burning towards the gate. Not entirely sure, but yeah, they're definitely moving somewhere. And they have an afterburner. I think that's an afterburner since it's a rupture. But yeah, I really thought to drop the mallet on this ship. However, due to certain circumstances right now, being the ship being far away and there is no warp, definitely no warping on this distance, I decided to take the good old Stratius. I mean, I really want to fly like other ships versus the lower tier ships, but in a lot of situations, I'm not really able to use the other ships because the target would just warp off, since they're usually aligned or there is no good warping, and I'm kind of forced to use the Stratius, just so I can
Warp
sneak
drive
up to them and ensure that they don't warp away when I appear. And that's the reason why I'm flying this thing, because very few ships are able to do that. Only bombers, Astro, and that's about it. No other ships can immediately warp around cloaked, and they cloak upon, you know. I think Black Ops ships are able to do the same thing, but they can't warp. So Black Ops kinda doesn't count, since you have to warp decloaked, and if you mess up the warping, if they're aligned, they will warp out. So the Stratius in the end is still the best option when the target is aligned, when the target is in a weird position. No other ship can really get the job done than the Stratius, Astro, or a bomber. And I was trying to find out where
Warp
did they
drive
warp to.
active.
Maybe they warped to an anomaly or something, and then I go and oh, there they are. Stop the ship! No, there goes the Stratius. I mean, I think they docked, so it doesn't really change much. But I'll return to the other station.
Warp drive
But yeah,
active.
the Stratius is definitely one of my favorite ships, I think, in the game. I'm very glad that I have this thing. Very happy that I am flying the Stratius. It's probably the best cruiser I have right now. I mean, I see best. There is just no running away from this thing. That's the thing. If a Stratius wants to tackle you, it will tackle you.
Warp drive active.
It works in 99.99% of cases. The only thing that can mess up your plans is lag. That's the only thing that can mess up your
Undocking.
plans. Okay, and let's go to the next target. As I mentioned literally 2 minutes ago, next target will be a Harvey prototype. Now, obviously,
Warp drive
The-
active.
you can already guess that the Harvey is aligned. The Harvey is warping around, and that's why I'm flying the Status, because if I land with anything else, they can just click warp and they will be out of the mission by the time I even land. That's why it's very important to always be aligned. And I am hunting, and I kind of definitely make things harder for myself when I say this, but I like to help players. I don't mind if I miss a target. I don't mind if they warp
Warp
out.
drive active.
I'm here to, help players survive in LowSec. So you increase your chances to survive a lot by just being aligned. Most will not fly a Stratius. Most will be in a, Cortops cruiser, frigates, battleships, battlecruisers. And most will be ships that will warp decloaked. And if you're aligned, you can just simply warp off before they even land, and that increases your chances to survive by a lot. So always be aligned, always watch the local. If something is suspicious, it probably is, and warp out. As simple as that. No, the Harvey returned. I did not really know what happened. They warped off. Could have been. I mean, could
Warp
be
drive
that they warped
active.
off because they had to repair. Can be that, potentially might be the case. Could be that they're careful, and as you can see, they did start to align towards the station. So my decision to take the Stratius is pretty much valid, because and I'll warp at about 20 kilometers, I believe, so that I warp ahead of them, since they will be moving towards the station, right?
Warp drive active.
So if I land on 0, they will be moving away from me. If I land a bit further away, they will be moving towards me. So they will basically move towards my ship, and the tackle will be much easier done than me having to chase them around. So that's also one Stratus trick that you can do if you're hunting, of course. So I'm kind of trying to give ideas for both sides, for both the mission runner and for the hunter. I'm trying to give ideas to both. After all, PvE and PvP is what most players do. And well, maybe bombs were overkill. I shouldn't have loaded the bombs. I think that was overkill. Yeah, definitely overkill. But yeah, there goes the Harvey. And some C-types, I'll take it. My C-type collection is growing. My C-type collection is definitely growing.
Warp drive
But
active.
I need more. That will go on the market at one point. So, that would be it for today. Was fun to make the video, honestly. Since the last update, I'm having a lot more fun than usual. I'm actually happy that I'm able to have more fun now in this game than before. Obviously, my activity will be a bit. My activity in the game will be a bit more now than what it used to be, just because of how good the recent updates were. Not perfect by any means, but I'm actually pretty happy with the updates, and I'm having fun. I have things to do now. I have a lot more things to do now. So that would be I'm definitely looking forward to see what else I do. Definitely looking forward to test out the bombers. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.